am a man. I am a champion. I am a warrior. So who are you to tell me that I cannot make? Who are you to tell me that I am not the greatest thing that God ever did?
Good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada. A very special good morning to those of you joining us on the various radio stations. 97.5 CitysoundFM, 89.5 CRFM, 91.9 and 91.5 RealFM Radio, 92.9 Sister Al Radio broadcasting from Hillsborough, Carriacou, and of course 94.9 We Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn, New York. A very special good morning to those of you joining us on the on the live streams, whether it's on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, wherever you may be joining us from this morning. A very pleasant good morning to you as well. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Thursday morning in the Spice Isle of Grenada. And with me in studio this morning, I have my co-host, Mr. Roland Bola. Good morning, Mr. Bola.
Good morning to you, Miss Duncan. I believe that you're having a wonderful morning. You seem to be
chipper.
Well, you want to put words in my mouth. Anyway, let's leave that about you. But you do good. You look good. I hope you had a well-rested night. You look rejuvenated and refreshed.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's the way you look to me. You may not be feeling that way, but you look that way. Good morning to all our listeners, those of you who have already joined us, and those who have not joined yet. Oh, friends, call off your neighbor. Tell them, let them know. Give them a little ring, a little ting-a-ling, on the phone. That little thing we have there. There's a joke about the phone, the phone. Very early days.
Give me the joke. I know you like to give all the little jokes and sing songs.
Very early days when phones were not as accessible, maybe is the correct word to use, as they are now. Nowadays everybody have 2 and 3. Even little children, 5-year-olds have their own cell phones now, in some instances. We knew about the house phones in those days, and in some communities there was just one individual, one house, a house on the hill, Mr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so who came from England, wherever, and your relatives would call at a certain time and say, tell my mother or tell my brother, tell my sister to come 4 o'clock Sunday evening or 6 o'clock Saturday evening, and there'd be a line of people waiting, and when your call come, you go and you talk for 3 minutes, and you had to hang up the phone because another family had a call, and so. And when phones started becoming a little bit more accessible, and so this lady applied for a phone, and she got it. So they're on the bus going down to St. George's. In those days, it was the big wooden buses. So they are a couple seats apart. And the one in front now telling the one behind her, she turned back. She said, girl, I get the thing. So the other one wasn't sure. She said, well, what thing? But they kind of still feel that is not the public business to let them know. The F. So you get the F for it. The F. For what? What I tell you, they have to get the F.
Mr. Bola, why is the F?
The phone. Anyway, that was then. those days. She didn't realize phone was P. I get the F.
Oh, Lord. Oh, my goodness.
Many years ago. May the soul rest in peace. They're not wrong, so they can't sue me now for saying such. Anyway, my friends, just a little cackle in the morning. It's a Thursday. We're getting down to the end of the week. We're winding down. We had a really good week. There was some sadness. We saw the final arresting of the soul and body of former minister and former deputy prime minister Elvin Nimrod in Carriacou on Tuesday. Saddish moment, early in the week. But that is now behind us. His works and deeds will never be forgotten, especially by the people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Yesterday we had the press conference with the Honorable Minister for Health and, of course, the Acting Permanent Secretary in that of Dr. Martin, who I thought both gave a very good account of where we are, the transition that we are making, the fact that we still must continue to observe and obey the protocols, but more importantly, that it is necessary for us as a nation to understand the importance of taking the vaccine, which is happening the world over. Over 300 million people the world over has already taken. And there are 1.6, 1.7 billion people in the world. Is it 1 point or 2 point?
I don't know. I never checked to see how much people is having in the world.
Billion? No. It's just eluding me. China alone has about 1 billion people. China's population is 1.2 or 1.3 billion.
I mean, we could Google it, Google solves everything.
I think you should, because just the exact figure seem to be eluding me just at this moment.
I get all my figures from Worldometer. They seem to be very up to date on statistics in terms of.
They will tell you what is the world population.
Yeah.
It's
7 billion.
It's definitely. Where did I get 1.7 billion from?
I'm not sure.
And immediately I check back to say, but no. But if China alone is about 1.3 billion, India is just about 1 billion. They're two largest population. Then you have Pakistan in third place. And maybe you should check them out. Just as we're on that, the largest population in the world. And in order, I think it should be China, India, Pakistan, and you continue to come down. And these are three countries that are in Asia. And they, I think, among themselves.
Actually, it's China, India, and then the United States.
And the United States. The United States is more than Pakistan?
Well, that's what I'm seeing here. And then Indonesia, Brazil, and Pakistan. That's what I'm seeing.
How old is that update?
You're very correct to ask how old it is. Let's see. Maybe I could go back on.
What is the U.S. population that you've seen there? And friends, we're coming to what we're coming to. Sorry for
actually, when I look at Worldometer, it says that it has reached 7 billion on October 31st, 2011. So as of 2011, it was 7 billion, and it's projected to reach 8 billion by 2023.
2023. Well, I was about to say to you that anywhere around 2010, 2011, the discussion the world over in terms of agriculture then was how the world was going to provide and be able to make food accessible and available to an additional 1 billion people, because there was an expectation by 2022, 2023 that the population growth of the world would be by another billion. So we are heading towards the 8 billion mark.
The statistics does show that there are almost 850 million undernourished people in the world. That's people who don't have access to.
People who are living definitely under the poverty line.
Under the poverty line. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. So that's just some, what we call it, general knowledge.
General knowledge, but important. And the reason why it is important, and we just deviated a little bit from that because we are going to be talking today again about the necessity of getting the vaccine, right? And then you can queue up that day so we can give an updated figure as to how much. The last I knew it was about 304 million, 305 million people. By now it should probably be 310 and moving forward.
It depends. It's 400 million now.
400 million.
Yes. And as we've been saying here, that is just the projected figure from the data they have received.
Good.
So there are countries who have not yet reported their data. There are countries who have reported but not
the full amount.
Yes, because
it depends on when they sent in their report or when they access that
Grenada
report.
is still listed as 3,000, and we know we're well over 8,000 people.
We're closer to 10 now.
To 10, right.
Yeah, to 10,000 people.
I think Barbados is now at about 60,000. I see them. They have them here for about 53,000 people that have already been vaccinated in Barbados.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of Caribbean countries who are not listed here as well. So we know that the numbers are quite larger than what is listed on Bloomberg, but we use it because it is.
Well, it's a reference point.
It's a reference point.
What is the United States number now in terms of vaccination?
All right, let's see here. The United States so far have issued 113 million doses. So at the rate they're going, they're estimated to, in the next 5 months, to have covered 75% of their population, which means they would have achieved herd immunity. And with that being done, then they would open up their countries. Well, the hope would be that the country would begin opening up and people would begin moving a lot freer.
Well, that is for U.S. citizens
For the
and
US
people who are in the U.S.
Yes. But
I
even
am more of
people
the
traveling
opinion.
to
I
the
am more
US.
of the opinion, and I tend to lean towards the belief that achieving herd immunity in the U.S., which would happen as the project within another 4 to 5 months, it means that those of us who wish to enter the U.S., I am of the suspicion
That we would have to be
that
vaccinated.
we would have to be vaccinated if
Yeah.
we have to go there. Because a country as large as the US, with the third largest population based on what you have seen on Worldometer,
Worldometer.
you are the ones who goes to those things, not me. So I can only repeat after you. I don't see why they would want to allow people who have not been vaccinated against the virus to come and intermingle with the population
Yeah.
and risk the chance of having a reoccurrence or a greater spread. Yes? And the reason why I thought we should put these information out and these figures, 400 million people the world over. Now, if the vaccine is as bad as some people want to make us believe it is, and the reasons that they're giving, why haven't we heard
Yeah.
or seen or recorded so much more deaths?
Absolutely.
I mean, 400 million
Or
people.
deaths at all, because I don't think there have been any recorded deaths from the AstraZeneca.
Well, I don't think from the information that is available to us that they can attribute any death
To
thus
it.
far directly to vaccines, whether it's AstraZeneca
Or any
or
of the
Pfizer or any
others,
other
yeah.
vaccine. And like I've said to some people, we had a little get together last night, and let me just say a little meeting. When I say get together, sometimes people get the wrong
Yep.
connotation.
They think it's
A little fete, a little party. Well, I have not been fetting except for what my wife has been providing for me to eat when I go home. But there was a little meeting in the village. There were about 30, nothing more than 35. At one time when I counted, I got about 31 or 32 people. Socially distanced, the parliamentary rep was there, and so, and the discussion was surrounding current issues, you know, the vaccination and why it's necessary, and so. And as one person asked, and I had to explain to them, there has been no evidence from ever since vaccines has been created, that a vaccine can prevent you from dying.
Right. It doesn't
Not that
give
I know of.
mortality.
Does not
according
give
to
you
Minister
mortality,
Steele.
as the minister said. But what it does is help to protect your immune system, to boost it, to make you stronger, more resilient, and better able to fight whatever the virus that attacks you. And so if someone dies after taking hours or days after taking the vaccine, you cannot automatically attribute the death of that individual to the vaccine. They correlate it to say that, oh, well, he just took the vaccine and he died, so it has to be the
it has to
vaccine
be that,
that causes
because
death.
you didn't know what his medical situation was before
Prior to taking the vaccine.
Right.
Right? Research may, depending on the death, may be able to show that as a result of the vaccine, it may have aggregate. What was the word I was going to say? And I mispronounced. You're not sure what was the word I wanted to say? No, okay.
That's okay. That happens. It happens to me too.
Research and medical research and into someone passing out after or transitioning after taking the vaccine. You may find instances where the vaccine in and of itself may cause certain reaction in people.
Yes.
Right?
Which is expected not just with vaccinations, but
with any kind of
medicines
medication.
in general. Medicines, whether Western medicine or modern medicine, whether it's herbs you're using or so on.
So explain to me, Miss Doctor, what is
I
the difference?
am not a doctor.
What
Mr.
is
Bola.
the difference between Western medicine and what? And herbal? Give me an
Western
explanation.
medicine is basically not herbal medication.
I don't know. Herbal medication is herbal medication.
No, I think that's what they call it, Western medicine.
But people from the East have been
No, it
using.
does not have anything to do with geographical location.
Okay, no, I just want you to explain. I thought it got
No,
that
it's
name.
traditional medicine. It's the things that we use. Like you have a headache, you're gonna say go and boil some lemongrass, or they
No,
say
if you have a headache, I'll tell you boil some ginger.
some ginger. You see, there we go. And what you gonna tell me from a cough and a cold?
Then I'll tell you some lemongrass and big time.
You see, there we go. Western medicine.
I know that's trouble. Anyway, I mean, I'm here to learn as well as to pass on what I know. So, friends, yes, we want to continue this morning. Don't mind Miss Duncan and I. We sometimes get off track a little bit, but still staying in the zone
Mostly
to talk vaccination. And we want to open up the lines very early. I think yesterday we did not get a chance to allow any callers to communicate with us because we just had a short stint coming after the press conference or the post-cabinet briefing, as it is commonly referred to. So today we'd want to open up the lines very early, Ms. Duncan, make sure you have things in place, because we'd like to hear you. Give your views. There's still many people who are for, there are many who are against taking the vaccine, and you may have your rationale. Whether we agree with you or not, the point is, if you are convinced and that conviction is so strong, you can share it with us. Mm-hmm. I am one that have a very strong conviction that we should all take the vaccine. I believe that this virus will be around for much, much longer time than we anticipate.
And I heard something this morning that was very troubling to me, Mr. Bola. And I want to quell that theory. Someone indicated in a conversation that I was not involved in the conversation on purpose, because there are certain times when you have to understand when your contribution will be valued or not. And I'm learning that more and more every day. When you have to just know when not to say anything at all. Sometimes you feel like you want to contribute because you want to help, or you want to offer advice because you are maybe knowledgeable or something. But some people don't receive these things well. So you have to be very careful and know which conversations you must engage in. So it was in the vicinity of my home, and I was there standing waiting for the bus, and these individuals were having this conversation. I know them well about the vaccination, and one of the guys said that he was not going to get vaccinated because by the time he's ready to, or by that time, more people would have been vaccinated. And if what they're saying is true, where if more people is vaccinated, then it means that the chances of it spreading to other people is less. Then he does not have to worry. I want to tell the general public that while it is a fact that if more people are vaccinated, that the chances of a pandemic or an epidemic is greatly diminished, it does not mean that you as an individual who is not vaccinated cannot still get COVID. And I want to make sure that is absolutely clear, because I think people are off the mindset that if there's herd immunity in Grenada, it means that I am protected automatically because 75 or 80% of the population is protected. But that is not necessarily the case, because an individual who does not get the vaccination can very well contract COVID from somebody who has not been vaccinated as well and has the virus. Whether that person, it's the same as the common cold or the flu. People get flu shots every year, but there are people in Grenada, people in other parts of the world who still get the flu. Getting vaccinated doesn't weaken COVID-19 in the atmosphere.
Not at all.
It does not. It just makes the person that is vaccinated less likely to get severe disease, one, and less likely to spread the virus to people that they are in close contact with on a regular basis. But it does not mean that because I am vaccinated, you are automatically immune. That is not what that means.
No. That's not what herd immunity means. It just means, as you correctly explains, the more people who has been vaccinated, the less chances the virus would survive for a long time and make people very, very sick. But also, there's another side of looking at it. if too many people decide that I don't have to take it because enough other people will take it that will protect me, it means that we'll never get to that critical number to create the protection that they are talking about. So the more of us that decides to take it, the quicker we will get to that critical number, and the better protected the country and everyone in it will be.
Absolutely.
Because what is the devil in the vaccine really? What is it that the vaccine will do to you as an individual?
Or what can it prove that it can do?
That
because
it can
they
do
can
too.
say a number of things, which they have been saying. They've been saying that it has been causing blood clots. They've been saying that people have been getting really ill after and dying. People have been saying all kinds of things. But there has been no medical proof that this is what is happening. And I want to pull up, Mr. Bola, not to cut you, but I want to put up hold on. Sorry, I was multitasking, reading the person's comment on the live video. I want to pull up some information that I recently received, and that was yesterday, not recently, but yesterday received. And we know that there were a few countries who suspended. They did not ban, as people are saying, but they suspended because, of course, if you are getting reports of something as a country, you have to look at it and you have to analyze if it is actually so. So a few countries would have suspended the use. Now, only yesterday to realize that the Italian government and the French government will resume the rollout of the AstraZeneca after admitting that the ban was a political thing. You see, no, and I wanted to say this because we in these third world countries tend to feed off.
Yeah, but I saw the headline. But can you read any part of the article that speaks to? Can you?
Okay, let me.
Is there?
So they were among 20 European countries that suspended the use for fear of blood clots, right? Even though regulators within those countries said that it was safe. So the medical professionals are telling them that it is safe. The Italian Prime Minister spoke to French President, and the two leaders agree that they were ready to begin vaccinated with the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine once again. They said that they are waiting on the European Medical Agency to give them the green light on Thursday. The preliminary statement today from EMA was positive. France and Italy have also admitted that the ban for AstraZeneca is political, as the EU was accused of sulking over Brexit, sorry. It comes amid growing anger across the continent at the snail pace vaccine rollout compared to the UK and the US, right? So, and I mean, it goes on further to speak about what the Brexit sulk is all about and so on. But it also supports, Mr. Bola, what we were saying yesterday, that this thing, we are looking at it as, these countries just put a suspension on it. We're not looking at it from the point of view of we're dealing with multi-million or billion-dollar businesses who will fight to ensure that their vaccine succeeds over all else and may not just use their paper trail, or may not leave a paper trail that can lead back to them to say, okay, well, you instigated this. But we have to be prepared for these kinds of things. And that is why we say educate yourselves properly on these things. Don't just take a story from here and a story from there and a story from over there, or let Miss John or Mr. Andrew or whoever it is come and put things in your head. Speak to your medical professional. That's why they are there, you know. That's why you have to utilize them. Let them guide you on what you need to do. And I really want to pound that in, Mr. Bola, because as time goes by, you will see that more and more of these countries are going to start releasing the suspension that they have. And then what will we say then? When we have missed an opportunity simply because we are getting tied up into something that is not even related to us, because as they explained yesterday, rightfully so, that we are not even getting from the same batch. And we explained what the batch means. Some people think that, oh, well, the batch means that we get old thing and they get good thing. And no, that's not what it means. It just means that, oh, we got it from a different plant than they did. Simple.
And even in the same plant, you can have different batches.
And in the same plant, you can have different
batches. Because, you know, you continue to produce. So what's produced today or within a particular time span today is a batch.
It's a batch.
And then those that are done in the afternoon is another batch. And they label them that way, you know?
Absolutely. Right. And we have to understand as well, Mr. Bola, that this thing is bigger than just what we feel, our emotions. These are governments around the world who are fighting really hard to ensure that they can revive the economy, because they see the projections. Listen, we may be sitting in Grenada here, Mr. Bola, making noise about if I should get vaccinated because I don't want to turn into a monkey or a goat or some nonsense, and laughing kiki. And other international governments are quivering over the fact that they see a projection of what the economies would look like if they don't get their people vaccinated within a year or within 6 months. And they are shaking in their boots, and we are living comfortably here not knowing the storm that is about to hit us as a small nation. And sometimes we have to put all jokes aside and look at things realistically and look at things. And then at the end of the day, we're going to sit and say, oh, well, the government didn't do this, or oh, the government wasn't prepared. But these are the things that governments are preparing their people for. You think governments really want to kill out their entire population? You think the world wants to kill out the whole population? These conspiracy theories are nothing but just that, conspiracy theories.
And you're correct. Very, very much so, Ms. Duncan, because I think we take for granted too many things in this country. Things has gone reasonably well for us, and we take for granted that, you know, Grenada is a blessed place. As we sometimes say, oh, well, you know, God is a Grenadian, so everything good will come to us. I think the time has come for us to really settle down on our laurels and take a look at the entire picture. The entire picture. Not just about little Grenada, you know. The implication that having or not having yourself vaccinated can have for us months down the road. We have not yet understood that, you know. Many countries will soon determine where the people travel to based on the level of vaccination. This thing is directly tied to your economic prosperity and survival.
Of course.
In many ways.
Yeah.
And it is something that we are not taking seriously. As you've correctly said, many of us see it just as a joke. Hey, you know, this vaccine going to put a chip in me, going to make me look like a monkey, going to this, that. And we laugh about it. Yeah. We are not understanding fully how we are setting up ourselves to either succeed or fail economically. Yeah. We do not understand that the livelihoods of thousands of people in this country is dependent on how many of us take this vaccine or not.
Absolutely.
So while it is a health issue, and we can't get away from that, and the health officials, the doctors and the nurses and the other medical professionals will be talking about it from that standpoint. But there is an economic twist and touch to it as well.
Absolutely.
Our ability in time to come to travel around the world from one place to the next, from one country to the other, for work, for vacation, for leisure, for whatever it may be.
For medical purposes.
For medical purposes, whatever the purpose may be, may become totally hinged onto the fact. As a matter of fact, only yesterday afternoon in the news, I heard the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Mr. Alan Chastity, already speaking that they have a technical team, a task force, looking at the possibility of the introduction of an electronical designed, what they call, vaccine passport. I think that's what they referred to it.
Right.
In other words, what they're saying is that, because the question was raised with him, whether or not St. Lucia is preparing for what may eventually be, for traveling purposes, your passport would have to be able to identify whether you have been vaccinated or not. And they're already looking at how they can roll that out in St. Lucia. He said it's about 3 to 4 weeks now since that that team of experts have been looking at that.
And I guess he understands, because St. Lucia has really been hit hard by Corona.
Of course.
We have been living luxuriously here in Grenada, not understanding the real effect of COVID. Having so many people with these adverse symptoms, having so many people out of work, having so many people not being able to make ends meet because
hospitalized,
because he himself said that they are unable, if they were to be really hit badly by this COVID-19, they would be unable to provide stimulus support to their people. They have been hit twice, actually. Really
and to
hard.
be on lockdown, and they were saying that
COVID hit them in the front and then he hit them in the back again.
If they have to go on another lockdown, it will be total chaos because the country cannot afford that.
Yeah.
And I think these are some of the things that has missed us as a people and is making it a little bit more difficult for our people to comprehend the true nature of what COVID and a total attack from COVID can do to us, because we have not yet lived it and experienced it. Yes, we had COVID patients here. Yes, we have had positive people here. Yes, we have had a few people being hospitalized, but there was not the kind of exposure, like, for example, the United States. Millions and hundreds of millions of people went down with the sickness.
Yeah.
And several million of them had to be hospitalized.
Yep.
Almost every state in the U.S. were on the verge of busting at the seams based on the health department and their ability and capacity to deal with it. Billions of dollars have to be spent for PPEs and other medical things, tests and so.
Yep.
So these people really live through the horror of what COVID can really do.
Yes.
In Grenada, we were spared that horror. So in some ways, we do not have a total appreciation, and we don't comprehend fully what COVID can really do. And like I said, while the vaccine, first and foremost, is for medical purposes, for protection of the human body, for ensuring that should we get touched again with another round of this virus, our bodies will be in a state where it can deal with it more effectively by boosting our immune system as a result of taking the vaccination. And while that is the foremost and number one issue, don't slight the idea that being vaccinated, yes or no, will also be an economic decision that we're making.
Yes, yes.
Whether we can return to our place of work without being vaccinated. In fact, I've heard it rumored, and I've never been able to check it out, that there are some parts of the United States already. That is what I've heard. And I don't want to be the one spreading information that may not be totally accurate. So let us take it in bold letters and brightly underlined. I'm just saying to you what I've heard. I don't want to be quoted to say Bola said and it wasn't true. That there are some places already in the United States where if you're not vaccinated, they won't allow you to enter the workplace.
Right.
You know?
I've heard that as well.
Yeah, so true or false, I don't know. I have not been able to verify, and maybe we need to soon be able to verify whether such is true. So if that is the truth, already we are seeing that your ability to return to work or to find a job will be hinged onto the fact of whether or not you have been vaccinated.
Or not. And I mean, this is a reality, Mr. Bola. It's not meant to scare anybody. It's not meant to say that, okay, well, take the vaccine. Whether you take it now or not, you have to take it because they can make it mandatory or whatever. But these are just real situations. These are real possibilities that we have to prepare ourselves. We don't live in the world alone. We don't exist in a bubble. As much as we would like to believe that I am my own person, we are heavily dependent on each other, you know, and we have to realize that as a people, what we do affects everything around us, and what everything around us does as well, it affects us. So when we sit here and we think to ourselves that, oh well, me, I ain't bothering with vaccination, they doing that because they want to control us, they want to track us, they want to control the population, they want to get rid of some of us, you know, and all of these things that you hear. I mean, it's very sad. It's very unfortunate, but really, what can you do? Because you can't force people to do it. You can't make people do what they don't want to do. But most you can do is to educate, which is what we are trying our best to do as much as possible, to educate, provide as much information as possible, answer questions as much as possible. So guys, the lines are open. The number to call is 440-7377 if you're calling locally. If you're in the diaspora and you want to contribute to the conversation, the number is 347-329-3101. You can also call or message via WhatsApp at 440-7377. Be a part of the conversation. Let us know what's going on with you, what your reasoning and rationale is. Ask a question. We may not be able to answer it right away, but we can definitely try our best to find the correct answer for you, or find some information that would assist you in determining what your correct answer is. And I say that I say that because I don't want nobody to say, oh well, they're giving us the answer they want us to hear. No. We can give you the information, and then you, from that information that you have received, make an analysis of what you believe your truth is, Mr. Bola. That's what they say. Your truth. Analyze what your truth is.
People talk about your truth, but I know there is the truth. Yeah, truth can only be one.
It can only be one.
Yeah, you can't have my truth and your truth.
It's the truth.
It's the truth. We can have our beliefs. You have your own beliefs and value system by which you judge certain things.
Yeah.
I may have a slightly different value system and belief, and there's always the truth, which is straight, which tears everything apart in between. And we can either choose to accept the truth or not accept it.
That's very true.
You know, most things in life, like the vaccine, is a matter of choice.
Matter of choice.
Even when God created heaven and earth and created us as human, He gave us the choice of either living with the principles and precepts that He set for us, or living against it. There are consequences for whichever we take. He says, come unto me if you desire eternal life, or go your own way, and down the line end up where most of us fear to go.
Yeah, it is my personal wish, and maybe it's because I care a lot about people, and I care a lot about the people that are around me, and it is my wish that all of the people. I wish that the whole of Grenada would get vaccinated, first off. But I really do wish that the people that are around me, directly associated with me, get vaccinated as well, and as soon as possible, because I really would hate that I am protected, but the people around me are not. You know? Because to lose somebody is a really hard thing, eh?
Hear you?
Especially from something that could be avoided.
I hear you.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bola.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I was wondering when will the health center actually receive the vaccine?
The one where?
Happy Hill doesn't have a health center. Happy
Yeah, I
Hill.
know they receive it. They
received it?
I call her in a book down.
Oh, and look at that.
Do it. I will be taking the vaccine.
The medical station.
I have to protect my family. I also encourage them to take it.
Yeah.
And all your friends.
To encourage the people from the Northwest and Great Carriacou Peter Martinique. As much as we want the country to come back to normal, we have to take it. Right? We have to take it. And here, what have me puzzled with some of the people that have doubts. The same people who condemn the health professional, when they sick, the same people they have to go to. Right? They have to go to.
Yeah.
They would not go to the people who mislead them. People who have no knowledge about medical have nothing about medical treatment, what they could treat people, but they believe in them. So I want to say to the people, believe the head professional, because they study, they know what is right. And they want to make sure that the people of Greater Carriacou and Peter Martinique and the Greater in general come back to the way it should be. Because right now, some people, they are afraid to take a vaccine.
Yeah.
But I want to say take away that fear and believe the health personnel, because they are the ones we will be going to when we're sick. And when they administer medication, we take it with no fear. Right? I know that people might take a certain vaccine before the corona vaccine. And some people die after. Well, they don't die because of the vaccine they took, because of other ill health they were going through. So I want to say to the greater people, take away that fear. I want to protect yourself and protect your family. The right thing to do is to take it.
All right.
So, Mr. Uncle, Mr. Bola, you all have a wonderful God bless you.
Well, thank you for your contribution there. Right. Yeah. So, as the caller said very early, there's a distinction between a health center
and a medical station. So Hatfield has a medical station, not a health center.
Right.
But the health centers are those main ones, like in St. George. And so I'm assuming that no medical stations. Not all, so I guess as he say, he call.
Right, so you have to call. And I was saying that even at that little gathering last night as well, that I know the ministry is planning and they're gradually putting the structure in place to roll out. So it's now at health centers, and at some point in time it will get to medical stations. And I did hear somewhere along the line the ministry talking about a roving team. It's like a mobile unit that can move from village to village as need be. So you may have a particular village where, for example, a group of guys on the blocks, which is common for guys to be hanging out, may have become convinced that it is necessary for our own protection, and some of them have young children, and they have the girlfriend, they go back home to the family, and the protection is needed and necessary for them, and they may become convinced, hey, this thing is important for us to do. But as it's sometimes is the norm nowadays, they're hesitant to get up from where they are, from where they're hanging out, to go to a health center or a medical station. And so once communication can be made, contact can be made with that mobile unit or with the team at the ministry, they can specify a time when most of the guys can be in one location, 10, 20, 30, whatever the numbers may be, and get there by the mobile unit and inoculate them right there and then. So I think the availability in that the vaccine is here, so it's available. But is it accessible to all of us? It is also affordable because you don't have to pay for it.
Right.
And these are the 3 A's that becomes necessary. And I learned that when you talk food security. Food security is not just having food. So it must be available, 1. It must be affordable, 2. And it must be accessible.
Right.
Availability does not necessarily mean accessibility. Accessibility is when it's to your reach.
Yes.
It's there. I can reach out and touch it. It's accessible. Is it affordable? Yes, it is, because it comes to you at no cost. So available, the government makes sure that it's here in Grenada. Affordable, because you pay nothing for it. Now they are trying to make it as accessible as possible, bringing it to you wherever you are. Grenadians, please, let us utilize the opportunity. Let us stop politicizing this thing, because there are some people out there who are trying to sell the notion that by taking the vaccine, you are in some way making Dr. Mitchell and the NNP more popular and powerful. It has nothing to do with politics or even with religion.
Yeah.
It is about you taking that vested interest in wanting to protect yourself and that of your family.
Yeah.
Making sure that your grandmother who lives in the same house with you, or in whose house you still live, because she may be the one together with your granddad that worked hard in the earlier years and built that house, and today you are being sheltered under the roof. Make sure that you encourage her and get her to the health center or the medical station to be vaccinated, and do it yourself, so that as young and as strong and vibrant as you are, going out there into the world and intermingling with your friends, that even if you contract the virus, you are going home to a well-protected house.
But also, Mr. Bola, and more, I think importantly as well, are children. And you know, we have been told that children are carriers, that children do not normally get sick, that children, when they get the virus, that they, you know, would either show very mild symptoms or no symptoms at all. That's what we have been told. That's what we believe.
Because they believe that the immune system is still very young and vibrant.
We believe that the immune system is very young and vibrant. But Mr. Bola, it is very important as a parent that you do your best to protect your child.
Of course.
And by getting vaccinated, that is exactly what you are doing, because it would be very unfortunate that you do not get vaccinated because of selfish reasons. Oh, I want to see what they're doing to everybody else first. Or, oh, I want to see X, Y, or Z.
Or I was told by this person or that person.
Or I was told by this, exactly. And you contract COVID and unsuspectingly give that COVID virus to your child, whose immune system may not be up to max, may not be able to handle.
Compromised.
Children have died from COVID, you know, and I think we need to let people know, because we've been given the narrative. We've been told that children don't normally get sick from COVID. Children have robust immune systems. Children are able to handle COVID-19. But that is not the case for every child around the world. And there have been children who have robust immune systems who have developed diseases as a result. There was an incident in the US where children were being diagnosed with Kwashiorkor disease after being diagnosed with COVID-19 or as a result of COVID-19. There are children in Trinidad who have gotten severely ill by COVID-19 by contracting MIS, which is multiple inflammatory syndrome. A child in Barbados has died from same MIS, from contracting COVID. So this is not a joke. This is not a game. This is not checkers. We're not pulling a card to see which one we're going to get. This is not luck and chance. There is an opportunity for you to protect yourself and the people within your household and the people who cannot protect themselves. Because the children are not able to protect themselves. They are dependent on us to do what we need to do as adults to protect them. And if we don't take up that responsibility, and if we don't do what we are supposed to do as adults to protect our children, it means that we have drastically failed that generation. And they have to look at it in that way. Children are not immune to COVID. There is nothing written in black and white that says if your child contracts COVID-19, that they will absolutely be asymptomatic, or they will absolutely not get any symptoms, or they will absolutely live as a result of. We are taking a chance by hoping that our children remain alive and our children remain well when they do, or if they do contract COVID-19. And in all of our lifetimes, I'm quite sure that we have in some way or the other contracted the flu. Whether we received the symptoms or not, we have contracted it. And in the same way, in our lifetime, all of us will contract COVID-19, Mr. Bola. Whether we get symptoms as a result of it, whether we are vaccinated and get and our bodies are able to deal with it in a quick enough way that we don't get severely ill or get any disease, or whether we choose not to get vaccinated, we get sick and we die. At the end of the day, we need to make a decision that is best for the people, not just for ourselves, but for the people that surround us. So we have to do the things that we have to do. Hard decisions have to be, and that is one of the difficult things about being a parent. When you make a decision, you're not making it because of you. You're not doing it selfishly, but you are doing it with the interest of the people that you are guardian of at heart and at mind.
Well, that's a general principle with children. Based on studies and the medical experts, the general principle is that the immune system are robust, stronger than that of more mature people, and that they can take care of themselves. But there are always exceptions to every rule. And always. You nor I doesn't know by looking at our child whether our child is the exception. Absolutely. There's a caller on the line. Yes. Good morning, caller, and welcome to HARDTALK.
Good morning, Mr. Bola, and good morning to you, Mr. Duncan.
Good morning, sir.
Oh, my goodness me. I don't know. I mean, in light of, or in spite of the information provided by the Ministry of Health, our own Ministry of Health, and other reputable sources around our region and the world, you still find a lot of people going around with misinformation and disinformation. And a lot of people seem to be gravitating towards that. It seems to me that is what a lot of our people delight in. I mean, and I just finding it difficult to believe and to understand.
Don't, my brother, don't. We are living in a world where we allow fantasy to take precedence over facts and reality. It is nice. A lot of us sit sometimes and we could daydream. And nothing is wrong with that. I would sometimes sit and daydream of being on a nice beach somewhere, just relax and, being able to do all the fancy things. But then you have to soon come back to reality.
I glad you mentioned that, yesterday I was doing some wedding yesterday afternoon. I was thinking of many things, thinking about, how our people react to the COVID-19 and the vaccine that is now available and the things that people go about saying. And I say, it's just like one might feel like a millionaire.
Sometimes you do.
And maybe not have $100 or $1,000 in the bank, but
sometimes
to be a millionaire, you must have a certain amount of position, and so. But, coming back to the topic, because I've heard people, as I say, saying a lot of things. People send me information almost on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. But I ask the question, if I have to construct a house, right, not most likely I would go to a contractor or a builder, as the case may be, or maybe seek some engineer's advice. But usually I would go to a builder and say, look, my intention always that I want to construct a house and I choose you to maybe do the construction for me. So, and we begin the conversation. I wouldn't go to maybe a medical doctor or maybe a farmer or some other technician. But if I feel sick, I would go to a doctor, because I believe the doctor is the most appropriate person to go to, because they would have studied the science, studied medicine, and so on. And therefore, I believe that person is able to help me. So I'm saying all this to say, if I want to seek information concerning medicine or a vaccine, I would go to a doctor, or I would seek the information from reliable sources, authentic sources from the fountainhead, from people who I think have the information, have authentic information, have information that will be able to help me. I have taken the vaccine, and I'm saying this publicly on radio, right? I have taken the vaccine.
Well, you take your first dose, just like I did. Yes,
the first dose. And I have taken the vaccine after listening to some of the experts, right? I've read a lot of things, I've heard a lot of things, and so on. But as I say, this is a vaccine and this is medicine. We're talking about, that science. So therefore, I listen to the people who I believe and who I trust would not mislead us, would be able to provide us with authentic information and so on. And then I was convinced. I convinced myself. Nobody had to convince me. But the information that was shared, and I took it to be genuine, convinced me. I was convinced that it was okay for me to take it, and especially one of the doctors. So after he gave a lengthy explanation, a detailed explanation, and he's a doctor that has, according to him, in the interview, has over 30 years of experience, and he's an epidemiologist, right? So,
Right.
he knows what he's talking about, and then he said that he had taken his first dose and what have you. But I'm saying all of this to say that we need to go to the fountainhead, we need to go to the people qualified to speak on certain things or to share certain information with us, rather than going to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. And people are confused. But the sad thing is that we seem to delight in that kind of thing. Sensationalism, misinformation, disinformation. Come on. My appeal to my people, and if you have whatever fear, and it's okay that people may have this kind of fear, especially in light of all the misinformation, disinformation that they would have been listening to or they would have heard over a period of time. But go to the right source. My advice to us is tap the right source and listen to the right people. Why should we believe that the frontline workers, right, those in the medical field, or the politicians, the prime minister and others, would have taken a placebo, rather than the real, I mean, you know, the injection itself.
And somebody say
all
air.
Of this kind of argument.
Somebody say air they inject into their hand, you know.
You know, all of this kind of argument you would hear time and time again, you know. So I don't know. So I've been sharing my experience with people. So while I was explaining, somebody asked me, so how did you feel about it after you had taken the vaccine, the first dose? So I shared my feeling, how I felt after taking it. For the first 18 hours of taking the vaccine, the first dose of the vaccine, I felt normal, absolutely nothing, no difference. But the night when I went to bed, right? When I went to bed the night, I thought my sleep was delayed a bit. And then I felt a chill. I was feeling a bit chilly. And the chill went up to the morning when I went to the bathroom to have a shower because I was supposed to go to St. George's the Friday morning early. So I took the vaccine the Thursday. And then I got a slight headache on the back of the left side of my head. But 2 weeks before, I was having a slight headache as well. So as I had planned, so I prepared myself and I left home and I went to St. George's. So while I was in St. George's, around minutes to thereabout again, I felt a pain at the back of the head. But I realized too that maybe I needed something to eat. But I recalled when I took the vaccine, the nurse told me in the event that I feel any, different or having side effects, to take 2 Panadol. And she told me 1 gram or 1 milligram, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I said, what, that's low? She said, yes, they don't take anything higher than that or any other painkiller. So I went into one of the pharmacies, I think it was Hills Valley. So I bought 8 Panadols and a small bottle of Glenelg spring water. And as I exited the pharmacy, I took 2 of the tablets. And about an hour after that, I felt everything was back to normal, okay. And from then to now, I still have 6 of the tablets in my bag because I didn't have need to take it. And I felt just okay up to this point. You know? I felt no other side effects.
Some people have little stronger side effects than others.
Yeah.
You know, the side effects were
But Mr. Bollywood, listen to that. But 2 other persons who would have taken it after me told me that they felt no such thing.
Yeah.
You understand?
Miss Duncan and I, the staff here, we all went the same day.
Yeah.
We got ours done at the Radisson when they were done at the Radisson.
Yeah.
And couple of them, 2, 3 of them had issues, headache, little fever the following day.
Yes.
But the majority of us had nothing. I was back to work the next day. And up until now, I didn't have a headache. I didn't feel a little pinch at the back of my head. I didn't feel nothing. As a matter of fact, I didn't even feel when I was injected.
well, let me say this. Because the arm on which I took the vaccine, I got no pain from it.
What? I wish that was me.
When the nurse said to me, can you hold that for me?
Yeah.
And I look. I realized it was a piece of cotton.
Yeah.
So I said, well, and she get the tape. I said, you finished already? She said, sure. She said, look, I can't even see where I prick, you know?
Yeah.
Well, everyone is really different because when I got vaccinated, I didn't feel the injection at the time. But the following day, the injection site was pretty sore for me.
Okay.
And, I mean, I got chills. I had to stay home. I had a headache and all kind of thing. But funny enough, when Mr. Bola was fine, Miss Jacob was the best.
I heard Miss Jacob.
Yes, Miss Jacob called here. She said she gets the vaccination, and Miss
she
Jacob
was so happy.
Yes, I heard Miss Jacob's story.
So I mean, it gives different people a different feel. But in a general sense, there is no account, no record of anyone so far. And I'm not saying there isn't or there hasn't been, but there is no record of anyone so far having taken the vaccine that has become so ill that they had to be hospitalized or something like that. And
But
we
I
just
think-
said this morning
I think-
that there are over 400 million people the world over based on the records.
I think the
that has
doctor
been-
yesterday, he did indicate, the permanent secretary,
Yeah.
well, also a doctor, did indicate that some people did report to hospital with symptoms that were not severe symptoms, but symptoms that were a little more elevated than what the normal side effects were. But of course, that is expected. You're not going to. I mean, vaccines are not new to us. You know, we know this thing.
Well, we know, but you see, but people are associating some deaths to the vaccine after taking it. But not only that, somebody sent me something yesterday, and they claim that this information they extracted from WHO and CDC website, with a long list, an endless list of deaths, people who died. And I look at this thing, I say, and all of this creating more fears in the minds of people. But as I say, we need to go to the fountainhead to get the information. We need to speak to the right people and to listen to the right people. But before I go, yesterday on another radio station on To The Point, I heard, not yesterday, sorry, yesterday, today is what? Thursday? No, Tuesday. I heard a representative from the main opposition political party, the PRO, Miss Joseph, Claudia Joseph, was alluding, because I've heard the Prime Minister spoke about, the increase in filing fees. Now we're talking about the court system. Mm-hmm. I think the increase in filing fees, I don't know if it's at the ordinary court level or the high court level. So, and so on. And he was saying that at the time they were not thinking about implementing it, although it was a decision that was taken by I think Carriacou or the OECS. And then when he was informed that Grenada was the only country that had not implemented it and so on, then they hadn't a choice and they were encouraged that they had to do something about it. Mm-hmm. But the day before, I heard the PRO of the NDC was giving the impression that the Prime Minister and his government is do not like the people. And they do not want people to have access to, that was the message she was conveying, to justice. And now with that increase in fees, in filing fees and so on, people will not be able to access justice, and that kind of thing. So I'm saying this to say, I'm asking you, or the program, if you could get somebody on the program to shed some light on this, to enlighten us on this,
right.
Well, we can definitely attempt that. I think someone from Legal Affairs also could give some further explanation. But the Prime Minister, and at the parliamentary level, they did give some explanation as to how this thing came about, what it was about, and it was not necessarily money for government coffers, I think,
Oh, that's the point. Yeah. So no money actually went to the government coffers, or so. It did not add to the government coffers. No. But that is the impression that they are giving, and that. But most of all, that the intention is to deny ordinary people justice.
Well, some people will fashion things to suit what they want to achieve. And we know and we are aware of that. And they have done it before and will continue to do it. They won't stop. Yeah. Just two things, though. After the program, can you be kind enough to call us so I can get your contacts?
Yes.
There's an issue that I would like to have a one-on-one discussion with you about, but I would not hope for you to give your digits publicly.
Okay.
So
So when could I call her?
We are off we normally close off this segment by 11:45, at which time we bring the national report. Yeah. So I think at that time you can call the number, the phone would ring.
Okay, so make sure somebody answer, or make sure you answer,
Duncan,
right?
it doesn't matter which one of us is in studio at the time, but she will take the information if she's the one. Generally, she's, because she's the technocrat here.
Okay,
I'm just the side person.
Okay.
She's the one that controls the boards and push the knobs and do the different things.
Yes, no problem,
just sitting on the side watching. But as per usual, we appreciate your contribution, and we really hope that you in your own way, in your own little surroundings would try to convince as many people as possible.
But Mr. Bolo, but you and Miss Duncan, you all are doing a fine job, and you see, and I like the way we share information. The way we share information. The balance in the sharing of our information. People might feel we might have our own little bias here, but in terms of the information, we share information. And the thing about us, or people there, is that you welcome whoever calls.
Of course we do. That's
so
the
we have no
purpose we are
problem
here.
with listening to dissents.
Yes.
And then we put our case forward. We make our case.
Yes.
But so I really congratulate you all on that program.
Thank you
this
very
program
much.
is very, very helpful. Very, very helpful.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
and thank you for being an ardent listener.
Yes.
We value your contributions as well.
Yes, no problem.
Good man.
Okay, bye.
Right. Have a nice day. So there you had it again. Another ardent listener and is a gentleman who I always love to hear his take on different things. He's well researched, I believe, and not afraid to express his feelings on certain things. And it's good when we have people like that because they can speak from experience from a standpoint.
We
do have another caller.
Yes, hello, good morning.
Sorry.
Good morning, Mr. Bola and Ms. Duncan.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
How are you guys doing?
We're good.
All right, well, I called to give my testimony as well because I took my vaccine and basically nothing at all going on, nothing.
Okay.
I'm usually active, so I haven't had no feelings, I slept the best that I slept. Right? I do my own research and I read a lot of things online and I've seen the negatives, I've seen the positives, I read it all. And people need to at this point right now, although we say freedom of speech is everyone, right? Just keep your opinion to yourself. You want the vaccine, you don't want it, take it and just shut up.
Yeah.
Just have nothing to say because at this point right now, it is so annoying to hear big educated people going wrong with conspiracy theories that doesn't help no one.
Yeah.
Just this morning, I had a discussion with my lady, and I'm going to tell her this. Your mind can play games with you very foolishly.
Yeah.
Take, for instance, the Jehovah's Witnesses. They will actually have a dying relative that will need blood, and they will refuse to give blood.
Yes.
So you will put your religion in front of your family? That's how your mind plays games with you, and that's where the world is going. And we need to, we 2021, we need to get away from these kind of narrow-minded thinking. We are different.
Yeah.
There are people that will not take an operation because of religion, right? And religion also ruins our life because you can't tell a Muslim child to read the Holy Bible. You go read the Quran.
Yes.
And you cannot forsake him for that. So we have different choices and we have reasons for why we have different choices. It's up to you at the end of the day. So you're not supposed to indoctrinate me and tell me, well, I ain't taking it because that and you look like monkey. You can't tell me what's up on the buy. You can't tell me what kind of drive. I buy what I want.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you coming on the radio and thing. And I listen to the PRO of the NBC Tuesday as well. I like to listen to them.
Yes.
I love to listen to them. It amazes me of how arrogant this young lady can be at times. There was a caller that made a statement and she was like, don't want to call her and they lie and you know, like, her behavior in the public domain to me, my brother, is distasteful. And I will tell her publicly on this platform here, you will never, ever get a place in government anytime soon with that behavior. She will never.
Well, she might change her attitude because of that, because of what you've said.
Hopefully she will. Thirdly, I'm hearing people say the minister is being arrogant and he's this Minister Steve.
Yeah.
My God, to be a politician, I believe you have to be the thickest skinned person in the world because the amount of criticism this man is getting, my God, if Grenada is like a school, he will be actually the most impatient man in the world.
Yes.
How the man never said no, you must take the vaccine. All he's saying is that people in the front line at least try to get it to protect yourself and your customers. That's all. If you don't want to do it, simple. But I see that there will be a point where it will be mandatory, and they are gearing us up for it. So who are bringing the conspiracy and saying, well, okay, it's coming. It is there already. There are things that we are addicted to. We are addicted to your cell phone. We are addicted to WhatsApp. We are addicted to Google. We are addicted to things already. So it is just another vice in the head. And lastly, I hear about Dum and Ghana people going up in Grand this afternoon and having some youth for change meeting. The last time I checked, our youth is from 16 years to 24. This guy is over 35, and I don't know how these people not seeing that this guy is only doing this to benefit his money gains. That's all I see that. Because I don't see why you tell people come out in the thousands to listen what? To hear what? And it's not political, but you have a representative from Carriacou called Kevin Andrews who run under the NDC last time and lost, and we lose again next election, and it's not political. I'm not against anybody having free speech in it, but speech can get you in trouble.
Yeah.
You understand? Freedom of speech is not freedom of expression. I don't tell the Prime Minister I don't like him.
Yes.
If I go to the Prime Minister in his face and tell the PM, you're so and so and so and so, that is expression, and I can get in trouble for that.
Yes.
So we got to be careful what we say in freedom of speech. Nobody say no in it. But you go on radio and say, send me money and send money and send money and send money and all kind of thing. And I am telling the Commissioner of Police, when this guy and them start this kind of division thing, they practicing and they preaching, it is going to get ugly. And I'm foreseeing it. That's all I'm saying. I'm foreseeing it.
Okay.
But Mr. Boland, Mr. Duncan, you guys have a nice day. I'm waiting for my second dose of the vaccine, and I'll be watching from the side.
Well,
you guys have a good morning.
Thank you so very much for your contribution. Thank you for all that you've said. We really do hope that things do not get ugly. Although you're foreseeing, I hope that the Master will allow his mighty hand to rule and to avert destruction coming into our land. Let's say youth is from 16 to 35, as is said by the United Nations. But someone else say you're as young as how you feel. You know, so those of us who are probably 40 plus and 50.
Because you are as young as you feel does not mean you're still a youth, eh?
No, I didn't say that.
Because if I feel like a plant, but I look like a human, it does not mean that I am
I'm
a
not
plant.
saying that they are youth. I say they are as young as they feel. Not as young as the age tells them, but as young as you feel. So I could feel that I'm 16 where I am here. Doesn't mean that I am. I can feel that way. And you know, and while I respect the color's views and everything else, I'm not utterly worried, to be honest, by what these people have to say. They may be able to convince a person or two. The utterances may get the attention of a few. But I think over time, only the truth will stand.
Absolutely. Only
the truth will stand. I mean, there's a video that is out with the same gentleman, remembering when Minister Steele, on, I think it was at Beyond the Headlines
Beyond the Headlines,
did indicate that his expectation was that somewhere between the end of February and early March 2021, that Grenada should be receiving its first dose. And he had a field day with that.
Yeah.
He laughed and giggled on his next program. And who does still think he's talking to? Grenada? Who bothering with Grenada? We're not going to get vaccine until maybe the latter part of 2022. You know? When it actualized and we got the first set in early March, he said, again the same man, you know, because Grenada is being seen around the world as a poor country, they give us a little donation.
I resent that remark.
A little contribution somebody give and blah, 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 blah. Today, he's not saying anything. He's not laughing again. So they are used, and we should by now become used to the propaganda. We must know what the aims and objectives are and what they're trying to do, you know? And I am happy for him, though, because there are enough people around the world that don't always put their thinking cap on, and they will pay people just to dirty the name of others in mud, you know, and to pull down people. So, Brother Jones, with what you're doing, you are surviving. You are able to get people to support you. I know you're happy for NNP. Because if the NNP is not in office, there'll be no one for you to cost.
Exactly.
And as a result, there'll be no way for you to make money, brother. So, our foreparents used to say,
it's the truth.
If you can find free milk, why mind cow?
Why mind cow? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Mr. Bola, as we said, the choice, we can sit here all we want and we can talk and we can educate and we can appeal to the better judgment of people. But at the end of the day, the decision lies with others.
With the individual, yes.
The individual.
You know,
and
yeah.
I would just hope that good sense would prevail for most and so on. And, you know, if I were in a situation where my children were 100% healthy and I was absolutely sure that, you know, when they got COVID and they would be...
If they get COVID.
Well,
say...
eventually, Mr. Bola, and this is just my feeling, eventually we will all get a taste of COVID, whether we don't get no symptoms of it, because as much as we would like to hope that when everybody gets vaccinated, that COVID would just fizzle away. It's not going
Well,
to
it
work
won't
like
fizzle
that.
away, but it won't be as effective.
Right, but we're going to still get it.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It won't fizzle away, but it
we'll
won't
still
be
get
as
it.
effective.
But I would hope that, although that would be my hope, the reason I'm so adamant that others get vaccinated is not just because I want to see people vaccinated, but because I have a vested interest in people getting vaccinated, because the more people vaccinated means the more protected my child is. You know, not just me, but my child, because, I mean, she's not at an age where she can be vaccinated. So I would just have to hope that other people would become vaccinated and that she would be, in turn, protected. If not, well, I'm going to have to put her in a bubble and keep her home because...
Well, you do what is best for you and your family, and every one of us should aim to do that.
Yeah.
And it will be upon us and our conscience, I believe. Although, you know, it appears the way we live in the world today that some people have either lost their conscience very early or they are not born with it again. I must ask that the doctors check. See if these little babies that pops out of the mothers, when they come out, if they have a conscience. Because some of us live as though conscience is not a thing that is part of the human being anymore. Yes? So our conscience should be our guide. That's what they tell us.
Yeah.
It should help us to rearrange our thought process when we look at what we did or we consider what we're planning to do. And so we will be the ones responsible for protecting or not protecting our families. Yeah. At the end of the day, we are the ones that would have to look back and say, boy, I did the correct thing in taking the vaccine and encouraging the members of my family and very good friends to take it as well. And if we didn't, we should be the ones to look out into the mirror and say, you Bola, is the one that is responsible for your family suffering today because you did not take the vaccine and you did not do what you were supposed to do and you did not encourage them and things like that.
That's
so
a really big burden.
It's left to every single one of us, you know. For some people, they can shake that burden off and continue to act as though nothing of significance happened. For others who still have a conscience, I know it will weep us dearly. So let us not wait to get to the point where our conscience have to weep us so badly that we have to sit and shed tears. Let's do the correct thing now. We have a chance. We have an opportunity. The vaccine is available. It's accessible. It's affordable. So we have no excuse. You know? In the very early days, there were specific points where they were giving, and some of us had to travel distances. Now we are understanding it's not only in the health centers, but they are starting to reach out now to medical stations at the village level. It may be a 5 minutes walk away from you, a 15 minutes walk away from you, but they are getting closer and closer. And of course, depending on where you reside, and if you think you do not have the access from where you are, you can always call the Ministry of Health.
Yeah.
There's the help desk, and someone will be willing to speak with you to take your relevant information and to assist you in either getting to a place close enough or whether or not they can find you where you are. Because it is that important that the Ministry of Health is prepared to get out there and to find people wherever they are and ensure that they become vaccinated.
Yeah. It's definitely that important. And I wish we would see it like that. You know, we often sit here and say that at some point, negativity going, how we put it, cut we ass. And we're seeing it now because people are just so hell-bent on thinking that there is something so absolutely wrong, that there's something so sinister, that there's some negative connotation attached to people wanting to get vaccinated, that they are barely seeing reason in what is happening. And it's very unfortunate. And I really hope that more and more people would come out from this place where we've allowed politics to be so deeply injected into our emotion and into our daily, and not just politics, but partisan politics.
Partisan politics.
That we've become so I don't even know the word to use for it, but it's a situation where we allow it to control our daily lives, our decisions, our well-being, our emotion is very much controlled by how we feel about the particular party or even a person that represents or seems to support said party. And that is a very unfortunate thing. Very, very unfortunate thing. So I would hope that we would at some point allow good sense to prevail, Mr. Bola, and that at some point people will look away from the political attachments that they have to certain things, and they will make a decision that is just best for them, best for country, and best for the people that live with them. Because guess what? When you don't get vaccinated, your children aren't able to get vaccinated. Your children go out and put other people's children at risk. That's just how serious it is.
It is.
That is how serious it is. So let's stop playing this game where we feel that if we don't get vaccinated, or if I don't get vaccinated, Keith Mitchell and his administration would have failed. That is very unfortunate that you will allow partisan politics to jeopardize your life in such a way that you are willing to die to prove someone else has failed.
And that is looking at it from the medical standpoint.
From the medical standpoint.
And so remember, I did say this morning that there is an economic attachment
absolutely
to you getting vaccinated as well. So from a medical standpoint, all the points made correct.
Yeah.
Whether you survive or not, whether you bring home the disease to your family or not, whether you strengthen your immune system by taking your little jab and making sure that when and if that the COVID virus attacks your system, your soldiers will be so well trained and ready. They are prepared to fight back.
Yeah.
You know? So the vaccine don't stop COVID. You ain't tell COVID, well, get out of Grenada.
Yeah.
But what it does, it says, I am ready for you, attack when you want.
Yeah.
You know? We are vigilant, we are trained. You know, like I put it, it's like a man knowing that the bandits are out there and they're going to attack him.
Yeah.
Well, they will. But if he buys himself a gun, he has added protection. And that may cause his survival.
Yeah.
Because he now can utilize that implement called a gun that he bought to protect or to assist in protecting him.
Yeah.
That is what the virus does to your system, you know.
Yeah.
It's like the gun, it's there. So when Mr. COVID come, it can help protect you.
Yeah.
But that can stop COVID from coming. Like the gun can't stop the bandits from coming.
Yeah.
But the gun may help drive away the bandits from attacking.
Absolutely.
Or when they attack, from becoming successful. The vaccine, when the COVID attack, will help to ensure that it is not successful against you.
Yeah.
And that is not what we're saying only for senior people or only for parents. It is also for the young people that are stoned or past the age of 18, because under the age of 18, you are not qualified or you have not reached the age, as far as they say, to receive the vaccine. So there's loads of young people out there who have the entire future ahead of you and has this country.
Yeah.
Not just to take care of you, but for you to take care of. We cannot afford now for you to get sick and die, to be hospitalized and become paralyzed.
Yeah.
We want you to remain strong and vibrant as you are now.
Absolutely.
And what will aid you in doing that is to get vaccinated.
Absolutely.
Is to make sure that your system, your immune system remain robust, and that you will be and your system will be in a position to fight the COVID if and when it attacks.
Yeah.
So get vaccinated. Stop believing that you are a robot. That because you are young, because you are energetic and you are vibrant and you could walk around strong and healthy, that COVID will not attack you. It will. So prepare yourself.
Yeah.
Get vaccinated to make sure that when it does, your vibrancy can be up 100-fold.
Yeah.
So you can become victorious against the virus.
Yeah.
So it is for the young, it is for the not so young, and it is for those who pass being very young. So all of us, it is for every person who has passed the age of 18 and going up. So even those of us in our golden years, stop thinking that, oh, well, I'm closer to the place where I have to be laid to rest than anything else. So it don't matter now. It matters. Your final days here must be one that you should also enjoy. It should not be final days of you being in pain and turmoil and having respiratory problems because you have refused to take a vaccine and the virus now attacks you.
Yeah.
Take it. So even though it is your last week or not, and I don't know how long either of us have, not myself, nor you or anyone else. But if you think I am senior and it may be my last month, I may not make the calendar, still take the vaccine. Because whatever time you have left should be time that you should cherish, that you should enjoy, that you should spend with your grands and your children and with all of your good friends. Don't allow the COVID virus to have you lying in bed so sick that you can't enjoy your final moments. So the vaccine is for you. It is for your children who are taking care of you. It is for your grandchildren who should be loving and cherishing you. It is for the young, the not so young. So all of us, let us make that conscious decision. Let us listen to good reasoning and let us find it in us to go get our vaccine and make sure that we are protected.
All right, well, guys, we have come to the end of our program at this point. As we say here every day, in whatever you do and whatever you say, be safe and be secure. And if that includes you getting vaccinated, then do that.
Definitely.
Then do that. It's always a pleasure being here with you. Please do enjoy the rest of your day, but also I'm pleading and begging. At this point, it's pleading and begging, Mr. Bola, because I think I say it enough for me to be asking still. It's pleading and begging. Make the right choice, not just for you. Don't make a selfish decision. Make a selfless decision. A decision where you are not just thinking about you, but you are thinking about the people around you and the people that will be affected by the decision that you make or you choose not to make as well. So take that for today. Don't make a selfish decision. Make a selfless decision and help somebody who is unable to help themselves. It's been a pleasure being here with you guys. Have a wonderful day and stay tuned for the national report. Have a wonderful day, guys. Don't make a selfless decision. Make a selfless decision.
Are you gonna wear your mask today? You see everywhere you go, there are rules you got to follow, so don't you say COVID-19 will delay. Take the opportunity to save your community. Don't be that guy, put a mask on your face if you're heading outside. It's your life, my life, more lives will be taken if we don't try. If you feel any symptoms, call the hotline. Stay inside until you feel fine. 6 feet away every day. Keep COVID-19 far from away. Keep Grenada safe. Be COVID-19 smart.
Ministry of Health says there have been no deaths connected to the AstraZeneca vaccine in Grenada. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Wednesday, March 17th, 2021, I am Abigail McIntyre. Grenada's Minister for Health, Honorable Nicholas Steele, is assuring that no one in Grenada or anywhere in the Caribbean has died after being administered the AstraZeneca vaccine, which is being used to build resistance against COVID-19. Concerns have been raised locally following reports that some countries may have suspended their vaccination programs for fear that blood clotting experienced by some people may be connected to the vaccine. During the government's weekly post-cabinet press briefing on Wednesday, Minister Steele sought to allay the fears of those who believe taking the vaccine may eventually lead to death.
There is no death associated with vaccination, not just here in Grenada, in the entire Caribbean, and with the use of AstraZeneca. There is no death associated with that vaccine.
In early February, the World Health Organization, WHO, listed two versions of the AstraZeneca Oxford COVID-19 vaccine for emergency use for people 18 and over, giving the green light for them to be rolled out globally through COVAX. The WHO assessed the quality, safety, and efficacy data and risk management plans of the vaccines, one of which is produced in India and the other in the Republic of Korea. Minister Steele said CARFA, the Ministry of Health, and member countries of the OECS are subscribing to the policy of the WHO, PAHO, and the European Medical Authority, which will decide on the efficacy of vaccines in Europe.
They are saying that if you were to sample 17 million people not vaccinated, you would actually get a higher frequency of that same blood clotting, so that they see no relation between being vaccinated and those blood clots. So as a result, we, like the rest of Carriacou who have AstraZeneca vaccine and the rest of the world, UK included, continue with the vaccinations of using AstraZeneca vaccine.
Grenada has recorded 154 cases of COVID-19 since its first case was recorded on March 22nd, 2020. There are currently 2 active cases, one from Jamaica and the other from the United States. While they are currently exhibiting no symptoms, they are being observed by health officials until they are medically cleared. In a matter of weeks, Grenada and other countries could decide that a person who has been fully vaccinated may not need to be quarantined on arrival, or they will receive a significantly reduced quarantine period. Health Minister Nicholas Steele hopes this can materialize within the next 2 weeks at the latest. He says their decision will take into consideration the vaccines that the WHO now accepts.
A fully vaccinated person either does not have to go through quarantine or would be going through a significantly reduced quarantine period. Fully vaccinated. Remember, all of you who are waiting to see, it's going to be 14 weeks before you can get to that if you haven't yet had your first dose. Some of the other questions that we would need to determine as a ministry is which vaccine being fully vaccinated with. So to accept, there are certain vaccines that the WHO now accepts. So we would most definitely, at the beginning, say that those vaccines, if somebody is fully vaccinated with AstraZeneca, with Pfizer, with Moderna, then you don't need to, or will have a significantly reduced quarantine period when coming into Grenada. Not planning to go get vaccinated, but fully vaccinated, then you will not. But if you are not fully vaccinated, that you would have to go through the quarantine period. because you are still at risk of getting and therefore spreading COVID-19.
A Grenadian doctor and pastor who plays a critical role in the vaccination program in the United States says Grenada is in a good place, having secured the AstraZeneca vaccine for its citizens. Dr. Philip Bonaparte, the chief medical officer in the city of Trenton, New Jersey, is urging people to take advantage of the opportunity, especially since some Caribbean countries are still without the vaccine.
The sooner Grenada gets more people, the right people, vaccinated, the better Grenada will be, because that means that it will block mutation. It will block the virus from changing shape, from changing that F protein in particular that makes it so, I would say, contagious or easy to spread, easy to cause problem as far as the human body is concerned. And I think that is a key for us. I believe it's a blessing for us that we have available a vaccine that works.
Dr. Bonaparte says the government must be applauded for its work in protecting Grenadians against COVID-19.
Whatever the Grenada government has done to secure or procure vaccine for Grenadians, and I've heard that, it's not just the elite or people high up in government that is receiving. The people in the front line are receiving, which is great. I believe that the government should be applauded for the outstanding work that they're doing in protecting American Grenadians by keeping Grenada safe, protecting us against, COVID-19. And you have done a remarkable job considering other countries and other islands that have serious problems. And I want to applaud those who work within the government, in all aspects of the government, tourism, those who work in the Ministry of Health, those who work in different areas, all our nurses, all those who track and do all the testing. I know that you do sometimes an unthankful job, but you're doing an outstanding job. Keep it up. You're making a difference. You're saving lives. And my hat off to all of you.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Hey, are you gonna wear your mask today? You see everywhere you go, there are rules you got to follow, so don't you say COVID-19 will delay. Take the opportunity to save your community. Don't be that guy, put a mask on your face if you're heading outside. It's your life, my life, more lives will be taken if we don't try. If you feel any symptoms, call the hotline. Stay inside until you feel fine. 6 feet away every day. Keep COVID-19 far from away. Keep Grenada safe. Be COVID-19 smart.
Welcome back. We still have a significant amount of work to do if we want to return to a state of normalcy. That's according to Minister for Health, the Honorable Nicholas Steele. He was responding to a question posed by a member of the media regarding discussions on Carnival 2021. Some countries in the Caribbean have agreed that if at least 80% of the population is vaccinated by a certain period of time, they may consider hosting Carnival celebrations. Minister Steele says Grenada still faces a significant risk that can be slowed by the actions of the public.
The only reason that we said that Carnival is cancelled or postponed this year is because we're not at that level as yet. There is still a significant risk. But if we take an active role in slowing our vaccinations, then as public, we are taking an active role in delaying us getting back to life, in delaying when we can possibly have Carnival. So it goes hand in hand. We would love to be able to say that 80% of the population is vaccinated and therefore we can go back to life. If that happens in June, then it is a valid question with respect to Carnival or so. But at the current rate, where people are consistently telling us, I'll take the vaccine, I just want to wait a while. Well, wait.
Acting Permanent Secretary with responsibility for general administration and social security, Francis Martin, added that what they are trying to achieve is herd immunity.
If you vaccinate enough of a certain population, then there will not be enough people with the virus to be able to successfully spread that virus around your community. And let's use your church community for an example. If your church has 25 people inside that church and 23 of them get vaccinated, the 2 people who are not vaccinated most likely will never get that virus, because for that virus to get to them, it has to go through those who are vaccinated. And obviously, it would not go through those who are vaccinated. So that 2 persons may not get that virus. However, if that 2 persons from your church go home in the community and get the virus and goes back to church with it, that person will not be able to spread that virus to nobody else in the church, so that because they are vaccinated. So herd immunity is a phenomenon that is used to prevent a second pandemic from happening. It prevents a second epidemic from happening. It prevents a second wave from happening. It doesn't mean that no one will never get the virus. Someone may get it, but that person will not be able to spread it to nobody else and preventing a second wave from happening.
The Grenada Red Cross Society has presented cash vouchers valued at 200 EC dollars to more than 200 vulnerable families. The presentation is part of activities to observe the Society's 34th anniversary. During the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic last year, the Red Cross sourced and distributed food and hygiene hampers to families across the country. Director General Kathy Moraine says the cash voucher system represents a safer and more dignified way of helping.
So the cash and voucher assistance is one of the modalities that the IFRC, the International Federation of the Red Cross, is currently using. So you can do it with cash, you can do it with vouchers, or you can do even cash for work. Okay. After an event happens or disaster, let's say like a hurricane, based on the devastation that happens at a community level, you can have a program where you employ persons from within that particular area, and you actually pay them to do the work. So it is actually giving them some form of disposable income. You're encouraging them exactly to clean up their own community. So it is on that backdrop that we actually would have done the cash and voucher assistance program. So we looked at the risk, and then we determined, it would be good to actually do a voucher program. We actually use the same criteria or similar criteria. I think the only thing we do is included a component that spoke to catering for persons who may have lost their job during the pandemic. And again, it is for vulnerable families. Once we were able to work with the different stakeholders, we came up with a list of persons. We had a structured program. It was a restrictive voucher program, meaning they could only purchase food and hygiene products. Okay. No alcohol, no cigarettes, or nothing that is not non-food basically. Okay. And we contacted these persons, got them enrolled. Persons would have signed a declaration agreeing to purchase just these items, and we allow them to do the shopping themselves.
Okay. The Red Cross partnered with Real Value IGA and Food Fair supermarkets in this venture. Maureen thanked the volunteers for their hard work, noting that their contributions are what makes the organization successful.
Without our volunteers, it's almost impossible to do the things that we are currently doing. We continue to have a very small staff, and so our programs that we continue to do at the community level, it is largely dependent on our volunteers to support.
A similar initiative will be undertaken in Carriacou and Petit Martinique. And that story puts a wrap on the National Report for today, Wednesday, March 17th, 2021. To recap the top story, Ministry of Health says there have been no deaths connected to AstraZeneca vaccine in Grenada. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Abigail McIntyre. Thank you for joining us.